Hey, everybody. Good to see you. Welcome. This is our very first or not roundtable, reinvention call. We have so many calls going on here. And I just got back from Kansas City, and I'll tell you, I tried clicking my ruby slippers, but it took me 2 days to get back home after a big snowstorm there. So glad to be home and to see you guys here. Thank you for everybody being on mute and when you can, showing your lovely faces and letting us see you. Today, we're going to talk about what's your why behind reinvention, and we're going to get into a little bit of the neuroscience. So if you have questions, please place them in the chat. Shannon's going to look at those and then let me know that you've put them in the chat and we will address them. So I'm going to share my screen here and we are going to get going. All right. Can you see the screen, everybody? Yes, here we go. So today we're talking about the actual embodiment of your reinvention, which means it goes beyond thinking about it. It goes beyond knowing that you need to do it. It goes beyond wanting to reinvent. And embodiment is made easier when we know our why. It's easier to take it to action. The neuroscience supports us and sustains us. So we're going to have you guys think about any time when you've reinvented. I know one of the times I reinvented, I was a writer and developer of curriculum at Franklin Covey, and I wanted to go up the food chain there. And so I manifested, I worked hard, and I anchored every day into my why. And my why was for upward mobility so that I could broaden my career and be able to pay the bills and then some to be able to save a bit because I had young children at home. So my why was being the provider, the breadwinner, and having stressless days. So think about a time when you have changed a career or changed job, changed some part of your life. Think about the process and what you anchored into. And that's where we're going to go today. We want to know our why because our why helps us stay attached in the hard times. It helps us stay motivated in the good and the hard times. It helps us make decisions. Knowing our why is one of those things that allows us to actually say to ourselves, I'm going to do the hard thing. I remember one night I was working until 8 o'clock at night. I had friends out dancing, people going to movies. It was a Friday night, and I was home working on Soul Salt. And my why was for this company to grow like it has. And so I bit the bullet and I said, yes, I've already made the decision. I'm staying home and working on Friday. So it helps us flex when we have to. It helps us stretch when we have to. It helps us go through the challenges. And here's some of that reason. Dopamine is the molecule of motivation. It's the thing that when we're in Vegas and we're putting little coins into the slots, keeps us putting coins into the slots because there's that chance to win. Dopamine is the thing that when we're at the gym and it hurts to lift 5 more pounds, we lift the 5 more pounds. It's that part of us where we are so sad and so grief stricken and we're headed to the therapist and we'd rather go home and be in a fetal position in our bed with our covers over our head. And we walk into the door of the therapist and we keep our appointment. Dopamine is that kind of fundamental link between the release of what it takes to get to our desired effort and the desired effort. So I'm going to just ask a question. The way we lead our lives, I'm just going to ask you, what does that mean? The way we lead our lives. And I'd love to hear from 3 of you at least. What does it mean to you when you hear the words, the way we lead our lives? Who wants to go first? And I can call on you if you need, but please volunteer if you have something in mind. Asia, you want to go? And then Jen, I'm going to call on you.
Sure. The way we lead our lives What does that mean? It
Yeah.
means our own engagement consciously to me. Um, it doesn't mean we understand everything. It doesn't mean that we have it all figured out, but we're consciously engaged and partnering uh, with the way we're living.
Thank you for that. The way we lead our lives, that's really a great take on it. Jen S, that just came or didn't just come on, but you're here. Go ahead. What do you think?
What came to mind for me is like what we put forward. Do we put forward fear or do we put forward other things, like everything that's the opposite of fear?
Okay, so those are key words, put forward, which kind of ties to that word lead, right? Yeah, thank you. Christiana, would you maybe weigh in on this one? The way we lead our lives, what does that mean to you?
Excellent, thank you. The first thoughts that came to my mind were my congruence and internal alignment in all areas of my life, able to be transparent. What you see is also underneath.
So transparency, alignment. We're getting some great words from these three individuals. So thank you for that. So hold that image in your mind from what you've heard from your peers. And let's go to the way we lead our lives and the way we see what our goals might be and set them. What does that mean to you guys when we say the way we see what our goals might be and set them? Kind of drilling down to get inside your heads and hearts. So somebody, maybe Hillary, if you have the ability, I don't know if you do or not, to come on and answer that. Shannon, feel free to answer one of these. What does it mean? Akbar, feel free to answer as well. The way we see what our goals might be and how we set them. What does that mean to you? Akbar, do you want to go first?
Okay, I'm just thinking about it then. Sorry.
That's fine. Thank you. Yeah, you just went on mute. Sorry.
So I think for me, the goal I see as a really big picture. And when I think about the goals I set for myself daily, it's just like little increment steps towards that big picture. That's all I can think of at the moment.
It's great. I love it. I love how I can get into your head and kind of see that you're visualizing it, right? You have pictures in your brain, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm not consistent with it, my visions. Sometimes it can borderline from visions to fantasy a little bit. So I have to be really careful about that stuff.
Right. Indeed. Indeed. Yes. Thank you. Lisa, would you weigh in on this one?
I'm having a little trouble thinking right now about that. But let's see, the way we see our goals
and then set
and
them.
how we set, I think it's really just looking at what I really want and looking at the various ways that can be accomplished and then determining what steps need to be taken to get there.
Really well said. Really well said. Thank you. Thank you for the participation, guys. Here's the point. The way you and I lead our lives, the way we see and envision, here's my goal, here's what I'm going for. And sometimes we don't have clarity. I know, Jen, you're not clear on a couple of things. You're getting some clarity, and we're going to talk later today about that. The way we see what our goals might be and we set them, and achieving our goals, actually reaching them to some degree or completely or overshooting them. These are actions that we either take control of, stay consistent with to some degree, and influence, or the outside world is going to influence us. And that outside influence is often more powerful than we want it to be. Think about a time when you've had an outside influence show just how powerful it was, and it stopped you from what you wanted to do. And I can tell you, I had to submit, I had to surrender. I was supposed to be home Monday from Kansas City from the tournament. I didn't get home until this morning. And Shannon and I had to hustle, and mostly Shannon. And from Monday morning to last night, we met with 33 clients. And we just pounded it because I was stuck in hotel room, so I could. So we took control where we could, but there was no way I could get home. No way I could influence that. And Asia, I saw you nod your head when I said the outside world will influence, and it is often very powerful. Tell us what was going through your head when you were nodding your head. What recognition did you give to that?
I actually, this is something I'm really aware of in my life. And I kind of dance between watching it happen and just going with it, not necessarily because I want to or I don't want to. It's almost like being on a ride, and you're recognizing that you're on a ride, and it's like, oh, I haven't made a decision about this, or I haven't really put my own force into this. So here's what's happening. And sometimes it's been really, I guess, alarming. I mean, it's been good that I've noticed it, but it's been alarming because I've recognized that part that you said the outside world will influence more powerfully than we want it to, like enough to create momentum, even vocalization, even choices, even, like action. And then even, in that case, sometimes I'm dealing with consequences because of that. And I'm really glad that I'm recognizing that's there, but I'm also seeing that it's a force. It's a definite force, and it does have momentum, and it will always have momentum.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. That's really well said. So let's go to a better understanding of what dopamine is, because it's a building block. In fact, dopamine is the precursor to epinephrine, and epinephrine is like the adrenaline that's created in the brain. So when we talk about epinephrine, we can better understand it if we're trying to think about, how do I self-author and not let this power that we just talked about and that Asia mentioned overtake us. Epinephrine is a special brand of adrenaline made inside the brain that makes changes to the brain. And it can be changes that we want, but it's not just changes to the mind. We can't just change and embody ourselves into reinvention by just addressing the mind. It also, when it's churned up and created in the brain, will influence our heart and much of our body in a way that will give us a bias toward movement. It will help us take action and keep taking action, or it can keep us from not taking action, can keep us from just not acting. And so some more things we need to know about this dopamine is we need it to stay motivated. We have to have drops of it, drips of it. We have to create that norepinephrine, that our epinephrine. We have to create that in our brain consistently to stay connected to what we want. That's why how many of you have a budding relationship with a child, a friend, a student, a peer? And the more you stay in contact over time, the deeper that bond gets. Or you're learning something, and the more you interact with the text and the videos and the information, the more you own it. When we do those things that keep us in track with our why and with reinvention, the dopamine is the chemical that's keeping us going, no matter what the distance is. So when you have the dopamine and you're anticipating that you're going to have that reinvention, you become 30 to 40% more engaged. It can be released if you want as a practice, and we're going to show you how to do that so that you actually crave your reinvention and stay on track. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to dive into a reason kit. Now I'm pulling this little exercise from my book, and this is actually coming from page 167 of the Soul Salt book. And so I'm going to stop sharing and ask you to pull out something to write with. And we're going to go through a quick exercise to help you identify this reason kit, just like a little lunchbox that you can pick up every day and take with you, and it can keep you nourishing your dream of reinvention. So some of you may know what some of your reasons are, but some of you may not. And I'm going to go through some words, and any of these words that sound like that's one of my reasons, write it down. And if one of the words does not sound like one of your reasons, don't write it down. And Marcy, I did want to reach out and say, hey, welcome. I'm glad you're here. And our other Jen that's here without the last name, welcome. Okay, as I read these words, find out which ones tend to land as a connection to you and the reason why you want to reinvent. First one is autonomy. You want to have autonomy. Another one is professionalism is really important to you. So you're reinventing as a matter of professionalism. Another one is you're results oriented. You want to get a result. And those of you who have a higher D on your disc and you know that, this one might really fit you. This one might really fit you. So far, we've had 3 words that might be your reason for reinventing. Autonomy, professionalism, results orientation, or results oriented. There you go, Jen. Glad you're with us. Both of our Jens have the last name of S. That's interesting. And they both have 1 N. How, wow. Mastery could be another reason. Maybe you're reinventing because you want to go somewhere where you can master something. Honesty could be another reason. Write down the words that resonate with you. Independence. That was one thing I was seeking at Franklin Covey, was some independence financially. Peace of mind. Maybe your reason is a matter of truth. You want to be more true to yourself. Maybe excitement is something. You want to get up and you want to go to work or go to that part of you that's starting to express itself. Maybe it's self-efficacy. You want to feel like you have the ability to do something. You're owning your power. Maybe your motivation is you're just sick and tired of the past. You're just sick and tired, and that's valid. Maybe one is that you have, your reason is you need to act. That's just who you are. You're action oriented. Maybe achievement is something. Maybe beauty is something. Maybe your reason is you want a more beautiful existence. Maybe there's something you're trying to prove to yourself. Rightness, you're trying to right the ship. Rightness, you want something that feels right to you. Some of you are looking for getting paid, a financial gain. Some of you are looking to create. Some of you are looking to change. Some of you are looking to make a shift. Some of you are in discovery. Some of you want to bring your best self forward. Some of you are reinventing to reclaim justice. So there's a matter of justice here. Maybe safety. Learning. Maybe you need to shine a light. Maybe it's your light, or maybe you're shining a light on something else. Maybe you're trying to bring sanity into your life. Maybe you're trying to make space for something. Maybe you want to share something like your voice or a gift you have. Maybe you want to show strength. There might be somebody on the call that wants to share their research, or they just want to find a place where they're accepted. Maybe some of you are reinventing because you know you want to progress. Some of you want to support other people, and so you want your reinvention identity to support others. Some of you are looking for inner peace. Some of you are looking for purpose, transformation. Some are looking for personal growth. If you follow me on Instagram or SoulSalt on Instagram, yesterday I posted kind of the personal growth arc. You can go out and look at it as a reel. Some of you are looking for a victory, a win. And the reinvention would be that. How about connection? Adventure? Yeah, there you go, Christiana, we got you. Inspiration? Loyalty? Passion? Harmony? Advocacy? Contentment? Being generous? Maybe it's a matter of integrity to you. Maybe there's some meaning that needs to be made, discovery. Maybe you're taking a risk. There's some self-efficacy going on here. I just noticed we have that down twice in the book, Shannon. We're gonna have to let Kevin know. Stephanie, we're gonna have to let Kevin know that. Getting recognition. Maybe you want to establish yourself. Maybe you're looking for leadership of your own life leadership. Maybe the reason is you came here to solve a problem. I've had some reinventors, they really came to solve a problem. One of them is working with climate change. Another person I know is working with equality and diversity. They're trying to solve some problems. Maybe you're here to prove something. That's a good reason. You have something to prove. Maybe you're looking for satisfaction. Maybe you want to add value. Maybe you're trying to invent something. Maybe it's an expression of valor. You're valiant. Maybe you're satisfying curiosity. What would happen if? We only have 9 more. Maybe you're trying to advance somewhere. Maybe your reason is one of the greatest of all, which is love. And as some of you that I know are reinventing, I see this thread through some of the things you're doing. There is actually love there. Love for self, love for the thing, love for the people you would be serving. Build trust. Maybe one of the reasons that you're reinventing is to build trust with yourself or somebody else. Maybe you're taking a stand for fairness in your reinvention. Maybe you're being generative and evolving somehow because you're called to go to the next level. Maybe there's some fulfillment, responsibility. You're a challenge taker. Maybe there's something here about high quality. You're just for the quality. Okay, you probably have a list. Now think about what was not mentioned that you're missing from this list. Add it. What could be missing for you? And then see if you could circle the top 10. If you had to prioritize and divide out all of them but 10. Which 10 would you not be able to give up? Okay, so we have some comments. Jen asked everybody, what would be the difference between change and making a shift? And Christiana said, impact. I agree with that. And I also believe that a shift sometimes moves things a few degrees. Like sometimes we only need to move things 1 degree, 2 degree. Like I'm working with some strategic planning clients, some clients who are going into their new year, having taken the salt of their soul through our system that we have. And they're learning to prioritize only 3 to 4 things and saying no to everything else. And so they don't need to have 100% perfect planning throughout the year. In fact, with that system, you only need to plan really well 40 to 41, 42 weeks out of a year to be successful. So it's a shift instead of a complete transformation. Sometimes we need to be like the caterpillar turning into the butterfly, so we need a complete transformation. Does that help, Jen? That was a great question. Then Marcy, are we in the driver's seat or the passenger seat? Oh, I love that. That's probably from the beginning where we were talking about where are you? You have a seatbelt on or off? Are you in drive, neutral, or reverse? Those are really good comments to bring in at that point, Marcy. Thanks for those. Sorry, I'm just getting to those. Okay, hopefully you have your 10. See if you can narrow it down to 3 or 4. And if you can get it to 1 or 2, even better. So you challenge yourself. How many can you get it down to? And do that now. And then Shannon has put a handout. If you open up the handout in the chat, it's also coming to you. It came to you before this call by email, and it's going to come to you in the recording. And let's see if I can share it really quick. Let you see what it looks like. Yes, here we go. So it looks like this. And so when you get this worksheet, take the words that you're landing on, the 2 if you got down to 2, the 3 or 4 if that's where you got. And what we want to do is write a paragraph about this is your reason for reinvention. Because it promotes an automatic arousal and release of epinephrine every time you look at that reason. So we want to keep that in front of us. And the question I'm going to pose to you guys is this. And this is really the crux of how you're going to get where you want to get. Let's see if I can get this to advance. Yeah, doesn't like PowerPoint now. Zoom has decided. There we go. So let me pull that back up. This is the question I'm going to ask each of you to answer now. And I would love some of you to come off of mute and tell us the answer. How will you keep the dopamine flowing? How will you keep your kit in front of you? How will you stay aligned and connected to your reason behind reinvention? And let's have about 4 of you share. Now come off so I can see your faces, and I may just call on you. Asia, go ahead.
The first thing that came to my mind is adding that to my morning routine. So referring to my why, what I've written, and maybe even if there's 4 on there, maybe taking 1 a day and kind of see which one resonates with me for that morning. But I feel like beginning my day with that kind of a simple reminder, keep that going for me.
Thank you. That's really good. I know when I first started using my Reason Kit, I made a collage about it, and I would look at the collage every day and feel the feeling of the goal already being set. Marcy, you are nodding your head. Do you have a tool or an idea here?
I joined today because Lynn, you reached out about after having a missed meeting with me. You saw me walking out the door and we didn't get a chance, but
Yeah.
but a long time, a while ago, in another lifetime, you helped me through this reinvention, and I remember the collage I did while working with you, and that was really impactful. So I think I might do that again. But another reason I joined today is not feeling a sense of agency in what I'm going through. So agency was one of the words I started with, but there's such there's a polarness, I think, in the world, and then with me personally, and so up above and below, of feeling powerless about certain things. And yet I know through a long time of trying to manifest stuff that it actually does begin and end with me. Whether I feel like it or not, I always am in the driver's seat. So in this exercise, I pinned down to surrender and salve. So some of the other words I had were agency and let them, let me, fun. I know that when I'm fun, I tend to be, the marriage is better, the work is better, everything's better if I'm fun. So if I'm not fun, then it's going to continue to feel like I'm in neutral again. But having fun, believing in something is, I think, part of the solution to feeling that powerlessness. So in the end, after all of that, I think day to day, and what I'm feeling now is when I get that feeling of powerlessness, whether it's in the world that is a drag right now, or in my day to day, what I'm trying to do, just number 1, surrender, feel it. And then what can I do to be a salve to it, to be a solution, to be in the moment, to, recover, heal, feel better, and regain the steering wheel again in my life. Surrender, but take a minute and then be a part of the healing, the salve. So surrender and salve are the 2 words that I pared down with all of that. And I think a collage would be a great idea. because it had such power last time for me.
Yeah.
And there's probably still things, there are things now that I think about it that I did get accomplished, and there's things I still want. And there's things I want to throw away. It's like, oh, I don't want that anymore. But when I get that powerlessness, it's like surrender and salve. Like, those are the two things that I'm going to try to tell myself when I get that feeling again.
Thank you. I really respect what you're saying. And Marcy, are you part of our bi-monthly newsletter? After the election? Okay, good. So I'm really glad you're joining us, because we have that joint purpose in trying to be the light and the solutions instead of part of the problem, right? So thank you. I'm glad you're part of that. And for anybody that doesn't know about that, Shannon could put the link in our chat. Twice a month, I send out a newsletter, and actually Guidepost 6 that's going to come out in a couple of weeks does a review of everything that we have covered to get you in a position where you can be an inspired badass in these times that are really trying our souls. So if you haven't aligned with us and gotten on that particular email list, you want to, and Shannon will put the link in there. Let's do one more. Jen, I want to come to you. You haven't shared yet. And so what do you feel like your reason kit is going to look like, and how can you keep it in front of you? Miss Jen from the East Coast.
So the universe is kicking my butt right now, and it's making me do some really uncomfortable things. So ultimately, like, my words came down to support others' love and purpose. So it's pushing me to my purpose. And it's to support others, definitely. So it's been a constant reminder since last year that I need to make these changes. And so, like, I'm really uncomfortable. So I don't have a choice at this point but to continue on the path that I have I'm creating for myself.
Awesome. Good. Thank you. Here's Christiana. Do you want to share? You've got that look in your eyes. I'd love to hear what you're thinking right now.
Is it that look, huh? Oh man, this
Yes.
is a big leap of faith, but this is a very safe round where I can declare my great
Yes.
wishes. Actually, what I really want to do is give a testimonial, because I remember the first Reinvention seminar that I went to several years ago. And I was in a place of complete and utter disaster and things falling apart. COVID had just hit. My coaching practice was falling apart. I was not able to travel to my clients internationally because everything was shut down, and I really didn't know how I was going to pay my bills. Fast forward 5 years. So now I get to declare that my reason for reinventing myself is that I have global adventures by making a huge impact with my message. And what I'm seeing is the world, and you know how you can have those maps where you put all those little pins where you've been. So my world is covered with pins, and then I see the ripple effect going out, and I'm the turtle who has her lighthouse on her back because she just travels around the world and spreads her light. And that's what I've been working on for several years. And I'm going to go on a 3-month trip, you guys, on Friday, and I'm living it now. And so thank you, Lynn. From that first apprehension and what am I going to do? My life is falling apart. And now 5 years later, I get to call this my reality. It's just mind-boggling. So big, big heartfelt thank you to you and everybody else who has been part of this journey.
You're so welcome. I love, like Asia said, that turtle and lighthouse. What a cool visual. Your energy is infectious. And that's why now I get to understand why your eyes lit up when we said adventure. Yes, thank you. Okay, here's your assignment. Here's where it really comes down to you. And if you have an accountability partner, some of you have me as your accountability partner. Some of you have other people. You can even select somebody from this group. Take your reason kit that you've created today and have a ritual. Look at it, put it in front of you, anchor into it, and let it guide you. Let it give you those little drips of dopamine, because a consistent drip of dopamine keeps you motivated to keep putting a coin, not in a slot machine, but a coin in that great big jumbo gumball machine that has so many of the things you want in it, so that they can come down and land in your hand, land absolutely in your hand. And with that, I'll just leave it open if anybody has questions or comments they want to make before we close today. Anybody, the questions or comments? Hey, you know where to find Shannon and I if you do. And let's go. Let's go. Take this reason kit. If you want to write to me, if you want to post something on Instagram or Facebook and tag us, please do. Let us know how you're staying connected to your reason. And thanks again, Christiana. When you get back, we want to hear all about it. Take care, everybody. Thank you for being with us today. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.